If I told you that there was going to be a recession in 2025, at this point in time, you are likely not going to be shocked, and we are likely going to get some confirmation of that in July. That is, once we get the first 2 quarters out of the way. But here is the thing that is shocking. Just because we have a recession does not mean or even guarantee that you as an investor have to lose money. How do we know this? That is because in the year 1981, the stock market was actually up that year. It was up about 7%. And then again, when we had a recession in the year 1990, the stock market was up 4.8%. And then get this. Walmart, yes, my favorite blue stock, okay? Walmart has been up an average of 40% in the last 5 recessions. So, what are the absolute best stocks that you should consider adding to your watch list and researching more for a recession such as this? And that's if we are even going to go into recession, when and if it is even confirmed. Let's go ahead and break it down. So on this list, you are going to hear at least 1 or 2 familiar names. As always, I will run over quick recap of what they are, which ones I own, so on and so forth. And we're going to jump right into it. So let's first start with Walmart, because I've talked about Walmart the most. It is quite obvious why Walmart is on the list, because I talked about it at the very beginning. But also, Walmart is up 18% over the last 6 months, up 57% over the last year. And look at the logic behind it. What are people going to do come hell or high water? They're going to need water. It's one of those things. And you can get water, among other things, at a Walmart, at a Wally World, okay? And that is what you need Walmart for. Now, what I will point out here is obviously past results don't prove the future, so on and so forth. Now, we do know that, okay? And it is important to point out that this potential recession, okay, again, it is not confirmed yet. We all feel that it is going to be one, and it would not shock any of us if that is the case. However, this is based on tariffs, okay? Walmart imports a lot of stuff from China. Right now, at the time I'm doing this video, the tariff on China is well over 100%. Also, at the time I'm doing this video, which could change, because it's like that right now. There could be an exception, who knows? Okay, so that is a fluctuating situation, but that is going to impact Walmart. Okay, we'll see how that's going to impact the stock, if it impacts it at all, because Walmart could easily say, great, we're just going to add $1 on top of everything, and we're going to be fine. How's that going to impact consumers? I do not know. In either case, right now, Walmart is still a solid stock. When I look at the chart, it still looks solid. Okay, not as great as it was 2 or 3 months ago, but it is still quite good. 19% in the last 6 months is still good and better than what the S&P is offering us today. All right, so we got Walmart number 1. It's not in any particular order. We also have Netflix. Talk about Netflix and why that I believe it is tariff resistant. Last I checked, maybe I'm wrong, I didn't see any tariffs on software. Microchips, yes. Software, I ain't see it. Now, again, let me know in the comments if I'm wrong, because there are a lot of things that are moving and shaking and changing. Maybe by the time I'm done with this video, that could also change. But Netflix up 28% in the last 6 months, up 49% over the last year. Next one here is an old classic, very, very classic when it comes to tariffs, and that is Smuckers, SJM. Now, they are only up 0.9% at the time I'm doing this video, and up 7% over last year. This is the one. This is the one that I would circle, not for today, but for the future. Okay, if we are truly on this path of, what I was gonna say, chaos. You can say that. But we are truly on this path, and it really starts to look like a recession. We start to see mass layoffs and see unemployment truly start to spike, then that is where I will feel more confident. My confidence meter of this being a very, very good stock right now is at a 6. Okay, and that's because I don't see the track record here of, like, I need to see, that 6 months, that 1 year for me to say, oh, I feel great about stepping out on a limb for this one. When I look at a chart and I look at it, I was like, I see just a little bit of proof that this could be it. But I'm also looking at past history of my involvement in having invested in the stock in the past, and also looking at logic. We know people eat peanut butter and jelly when stuff gets rough. Now that's not just me just throwing it out there just as an example, but we do know people do cut back. You're not going out in the steakhouse, you're not going out spending a whole ton of money. You are cutting back in a recession. You are conserving in a recession. Speaking of conserving, that brings us back to our next stock, which is O'Reilly, a stock I do own. I also own Netflix as well. O'Reilly Automotive up 19% in the last 6 months, up 31% over the last year. Just like Smuckers, where you're not going out and buying a whole lot of stuff and going to a restaurant per se, you are doing your own thing, right? Like I might not go out to, it may not be a whole bunch of date nights. It might be more Netflix and chill. It might be more Netflix and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for the kids. We might not go out to Disney World. We might just put on Disney Plus, right? And peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for everybody else. Well, that also translates to, instead of getting a new car, we gonna run to O'Reilly's and put on YouTube and figure out how to change my own oil or something like that, right? So that is kind of the logic here. We also have data that I did this really more in 2020, but there's data suggesting that people are holding on to their cars a lot longer, which is helping companies like O'Reilly, because they're spending more money on car repair, keeping their cars a lot longer, and obviously when the economy slows down, buying a car is not high on your list. And that's something that's helping companies like O'Reilly's. And I've also talked about and even shown a screenshot that you guys know that I've held on to a company like O'Reilly's for a very, very long time. Next on the list is Kroger, up 24% in the last 6 months and up 25% over last year. Same logic, exact same logic here, or at least a very similar logic to Walmart and Smuckers. Where are people going to go? What do people need in a recession? You're going to need food. You're going to need water. You're going to need sustenance. You're going to need victuals, as my uncle would say. That is where most people's head space goes. That tends to be a trend, right? It's not too difficult to see, like, what do people, like, come back to. That theme is usually going to be there, and it's a very easy place to go to. We also saw stocks like Kellogg and others. Now, Kellogg is a special case. They split off into 3 companies, so I would not go there. That's why they're not on this list. But Kroger is. So keep that one on your watch list and see where that one perhaps goes and see if that is a fit for you. Next here is T-Mobile. T-Mobile up 23% in the last 6 months, up 64% over the last year. T-Mobile is a stock I do own. It is a stock we've talked about before, and there is an asterisk here. Whether this asterisk means anything to you, that's up to you. Okay, so here is the asterisk. There are 2 sides to the investing coin, depending on how you want to approach this as an investor, if you will. There are those who are called technical analysts. These are people who really believe in charting. That means you're looking at a chart, you're not caring about the news, you're not caring about how much money the company makes, you don't care nothing about none of that. You're looking at the chart and that's going to tell you buy, sell, and everything in between. Then you have those who are called fundamental analysts. These are more like people like Warren Buffett. You don't care what the chart says or what the chart look like, up, down, sideways, or anything else. You are saying how much money, you're looking at a piece of paper, how much money did the company make, how much did they lose, so on and so forth, and you're getting all your information from there. Personally, I kind of fall somewhere in the middle. It's kind of where I fall. But if you're looking at a chart, you'll notice that stock was going up, things were fine, and it's kind of plateaued in the last 2 months or so, if I remember correctly. So if you are looking to say, I'm here to make money now, if that trend continues, this stock may just be flat. Now, in a space where so far this year, the time I'm doing this video, the market is down 8%, I would rather be flat. I would rather own a stock that is doing little to nothing than losing money. Okay? I'd rather do that and have the potential for the stock to grow, especially if it does what it has done in the past. Now, is it a guarantee? No, it is not. Okay? But just throwing it out there. That is the asterisk there. But I do think T-Mobile has more potential in the long term. Then we have Arthur J. Gallagher. This one was interesting to me. It's not a company that I heard of. The stock symbol. The stock symbol is AJG. They are a insurance company, which that falls within my profile because I talked about finance companies earlier in the year. We need to revisit all that because a lot has changed from January and February to now, which is wild to think about because it wasn't that long ago. It was 60 days ago, which is crazy to think about. But the company is up 19% in the last 6 months, 46% in the last year. They are an insurance company. They also do reinsurance. Whereas reinsurance, think of it like this. Where does Geico and State Farm go when they need insurance? It's like that. That's what reinsurance is. They insure the insurers. Now, are those their clients? Not here to tell you all that, but that's just the definition of reinsurance. But again, insurance is straightforward, it is boring, and it is usually a thing that you need. And in a space and a time where people, again, investors are looking for things that are perceived to be guaranteed. And people are looking for what are people needing, what are the bills that are absolutely going to get paid, whether it's house insurance, car insurance, groceries, right? Basic entertainment. Those are the places that people are going to go. While it is sometimes counterintuitive, you would think that some people are going to cut Netflix. You would think that people may stop smoking, may stop buying alcohol. You'd be surprised. Companies like Philip Morris could actually make lists like this, and that's the cigarette company. Sometimes they actually do quite well. Even movie tickets sometimes do, movies and movie tickets sales, movie sales actually do well during recessions because people want to escape this dark reality that they may be in during those times. You'd be surprised. And this is a little side note, but I mean, movies like The Dark Knight really stand out for some people because not only was it a very good movie, but I mean, it was formative for me because I was in high school. But for other people, it's like this was a great escape from that crazy time in 2007, 2008, which was the financial crisis. It was like we needed to get out of what was actually happening and get into the theater to get our minds off of what was happening. So people do spend money, which is counterintuitive, but people may actually spend more money on Netflix when you would think that they would cut that off, which is not actually true. So those are some of the areas and the things that I would think about outside of these. Think of other grocery stores that may not have made the list. Though I like O'Reilly's, I personally don't like AutoZone, but there are other auto socks and auto repair stores, if you will, that you could add here to consider as well. But also, if there's going to be a recession, if you feel there is one already, there are some other things that you do want to do for your money. If you want to know what those are and prepare for that potential, here are the things that you want to do right now.